to Advocacy, where the ethics shape find out and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest helping others be the world's best version of themselves. And of course, a best-selling author and the author of the book Dying to Be the World's Best, none other than Mr. Sig Muller.
Hi, thanks for having me, Daniel. Nice to meet you and to be with all of your guests.
Welcome, Mr. Sig on Abstract Essay. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Sure, I'm Sig Muller, survivor, author, professional speaker, and I help organizations and people be the world's best version of themselves every day. I believe all of us have the power, talent, and capacity to do that. We just sometimes need help with the mindset and tools to do that.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you. And today, let's talk about your best-selling book. The title is ambitious, Mr. Sig. World's Best Kickstart Kit. What is the world best part referring to? Is it a quality of tools, an aspirational result for the user, or a new standard for starting this journey?
Yeah, that's a great question because as part of my journey, I asked hundreds of people, what does it mean to be the world's best version of yourself? And I did that following my sudden cardiac arrest. So 71 weeks ago, I had a cardiac arrest and died. I was full flatline for over 8 minutes. And I spent 7 days in the ICU. And in part of my time in the ICU, I didn't have any memory. So I was talking to people, Daniel, just like we're talking now. And I learned later that I said one phrase thousands of times to anyone who came into the room, whether it was the janitor, the doctor, friends, family. They would come into the room and I would say to them, "You are the world's best." And I didn't know I was saying it. And so, in the weeks and months after my cardiac arrest and I'm recovering, I'm asking myself, why am I still here? What is my mission? And learned that I'd said this phrase. My sister and some others said, you were saying this crazy thing to everybody. And I'm reflecting on why did I say this? And I think there were a couple of reasons why I told everyone who came in the room, you are the world's best. I think it was my fancy way of saying, thanks, I appreciate you, you're fantastic, expressing gratitude. I think the second reason was I knew I was very, very messed up. Something bad had happened, but I didn't know what it was. And I needed that doctor, that nurse, my friends, and me to be the world's best version of myself if I was going to be okay. So I became my own hype man, motivating myself and motivating the people that were part of my care team. So as I'm thinking about that and why am I here and what's my mission, there's a whole host of stories which I talk about in the book. I came to the conclusion that I'm still here to help others be the world's best version of themselves. So I set out on this journey. And like I said, I interviewed over 100 people and asked them that question: what does it mean to be the world's best version of yourself? And what I learned was it was very personal. And it wasn't always about being the absolute best in the world, right? It was about making a difference. It was about practicing your faith. It was providing for your family. It was being a good person. It was caring for others. And I actually, as part of my book, have a section where I summarize those responses from people. And if you're on LinkedIn, I about once a week post a response that I got from someone and what it means for them to be the world's best version of themselves.
You call it as a kickstart, Mr. Sig. What is the metaphor more fitting through a guide, a blueprint, or a philosophy? What does the kit imply about hands on, actionable nurture of your book?
Yeah. So every chapter of my book ends with two things. One I call a pulse check. And the pulse check asks you three questions. And there's room in the book if you want to actually write the answers to the three questions, or you can simply reflect and think about it. That's the pulse check. But then there's what I call the heart of the matter. And the heart of the matter has a QR code that links to my website. And then there's resources on my website that you can dive deeper and go further. And one of those is the world's best Kickstart kit. So it is downloadable and designed to take you through a process and some exercises to help you be the world's best version of yourself by identifying your mission, practicing gratitude, and just some other upfront things to help you get the most out of the book.
Interesting, Mr. Sig. The promise is first steps toward a more purposeful life. In your observation, what is the single biggest roadblock that stops people from taking those first steps, and how does your kit specifically dismantle it?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest obstacles is we're not spending on time on the thing that is most important to us. What is your mission? Why are you here? What's most important to you in your life? Oftentimes, we might spend, you look at the average person, they spend over 3 hours a day on social media,
Hmm.
almost 3 hours a day watching TV. And I could go on with other things that you have to ask yourself, is that really the best use of your time? Is it honoring your purpose and what you believe is your world's best version of yourself? And so, one of the things I talk about in my book, I call the 5% rule. And the 5% rule really drills into helping people focus on the things that matter most in their life. So, about a month before my cardiac arrest, I was fly fishing on a river in Montana with my son, and he brought his pastor along with him. The three of us are on the river fly fishing, and the pastor says, "Hey guys, have you ever read the book 4,000 Weeks?" I'm like, "Nope, never heard of it. Tell me about it." Well, 4,000 weeks is how long you have to live when you're born. It's about 80 years. And while I'm fly fishing, it kind of went in one ear, out the other, you know, didn't really listen. I just wanted to catch a rainbow trout. Um, in my recovery, I'm reflecting on, why am I here? How am I going to use my time? Am I going to live another day, another week? My father's 95. Maybe I'll be 95. And worried about would this happen again? The doctors didn't know why it happened the first time. And I decided to put a stake in the ground. And this is where the book comes in and that story from the pastor. And I simply said, I'm going to live another 1,000 weeks. 1,000 weeks is 20 years. I can do a lot of good in 20 years. And if you think about 20 years, every year is 5%, 1/20th. So you've got 20 summers, 20 Christmases, whatever your jam is, you've got 20 of them if they're annual events. Each one is 5% of what you have remaining. I broke that down a step further and said, how are we spending our days? Because tomorrow's not guaranteed, but how are we spending today? Are we spending 5%? Can we reallocate 5% to what really matters most and will help us achieve our mission, right? Help us be the world's best version of ourselves. 5% of 24 hours is 72 minutes. Daniel, you probably sleep a little bit, right? So
Hmm.
14 hours, 5% of that's 42 minutes. So let's call it roughly an hour a day is 5%. And you just ask yourself, what can I eliminate that isn't helping me achieve my mission? We have to stop doing things that don't add value to the people around us, to helping us achieve our mission. It's not about doing more and being more productive. It's about focusing on the right things. So, can you just start tomorrow with 5% more?
There a tension between individuals' purpose and external metrics of success. How does your kit help someone distinguish between a purpose that is authentically theirs versus one that's been imposed by family, culture, or social media?
Yeah, that's a good question. And even work, right? In your
Yes, and
job,
even
you're going to
work.
have, improve sales by this, um, uh, improve margin by that. So we don't lack for goals and what other people impose and would expect of us and like us to do. The magic comes when you can align those two things together. And that really is an internal reflection of your values, your beliefs, and then getting after it, being resilient enough to get after it and communicating well with those around you. Because it does mean some things you're going to say no to, some things you're not going to do. And you can do a simple map, that outlines here's, all the goals, here's my mission. Is it helping me achieve it or not? And if it's not, well, you can set it aside, you can deprioritize it. You may still have to do it, right? The world's not a perfect place. Every day we work on things that aren't our priority, aren't our focus, someone else needs us to do, and that's okay. That's okay to do, right? If we're going to live in a happy family, right? We are doing things for other people, and that's okay. That's good. But can we just translate 5% more to achieving our mission and give up some of the things that don't matter? I don't think your family or your job cares how much TV you watch in a day, right? I had one
Yes.
woman come up to me and tell me after a speech I gave recently, she said, "I watch TV for over 3 hours a day. Starting today, I'm going to change. I'm only going to watch TV 2.5 hours a day, and that 30 minutes, I'm going to start calling friends every day and connecting with people I haven't connected with in a while. A small thing, but that will make a difference for her personally and for every person that she reconnects with and calls during those 30 minutes every day."
Thank God, Mr. Sig, I'm not watching TV.
We
Yes, go
we
ahead.
all have things that aren't the most productive, right? And some of
Hmm.
that's good, but we all have things that we'd benefit from eliminating and not doing.
Definitely. On philosophy and the nature of purpose, the search of purpose can feel overwhelming and existential. How do you define a purposeful life in a practical, daily terms that does not require someone to find a single world changing mission?
Yeah, it's not going to be a lightning bolt, right? It's not
Mm,
going to hit you over
yes.
the head. It's about where you find satisfaction and fulfillment internally. Some people are people pleasers. Some people want to help others. Some people want to achieve great things. And so it really is very, very personal. My goals, my purpose, why I'm here is not the same as you, Daniel. You do this podcast for a very specific reason, and you're very good at it and help a lot of people. And maybe there's other reasons behind your mission, right? We
Yes.
haven't talked to you, but I'm sure there's reasons behind it, Daniel. Yes,
Definitely, yes.
yes. And for me, right now, it's about helping others be the world's best version of themselves. It's about giving back. It's about how I can make a difference.
To make a difference, people in the world. I'm creating all this podcast because I want to empower people all over the world and for sure my legacy as well. For someone who feels stuck or believes their purpose is to be found out there, how does your approach turn the search inward first?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things you can do. Um, I think one of them is to play, and that might sound kind of crazy, but we all need to play more. We need to play at work. We need to play with our families. Play is good for the mind. It's good for growth. It's good for relaxation. it elevates our performance through joy. And if we can do that more, that's going to really help us to uh, find our purpose and not be stressed, and then execute on it, because we all will spend more time on things we enjoy and have fun at, and laugh. I was playing pickleball earlier today, and I played pickleball for a few years now. And it's great to be back after my cardiac arrest playing pickleball again. I played for 2 hours today. And what struck me while I was playing pickleball today, I was playing with a group of 16 people, and next to that were 6 tennis courts. And probably half the tennis courts were full. And on the pickleball courts, people were laughing and having fun. On the tennis courts, people were grunting and groaning and not talking to each other, and there wasn't that same laughter and play. Now, tennis is a great sport. I played a lot of tennis growing up, but for certain people, it doesn't provide the same stress relief and laughter and enjoyment. And we need to find those things in our lives that help us play, help us play. And that allows us to rebuild ourselves and to expand our horizons.
On audience and accessibility, Mr. Sig, who is the ideal reader for this book? Is it the recent graduate, the mid career professional feeling unfulfilled, or the retiree seeking a new chapter, or someone else?
Yeah, good question. I think it's anyone who aspires to be the world's best version of themselves. Perhaps they're stuck. Perhaps they're in a rut. Perhaps they're struggling, but they're looking for that mindset and tools that can help them be the world's best version of themselves. Um, I've had people approach me. I've spoken at colleges, and I've had people after I speak at the college come up and say, I'm going to go and I'm going to stop going to all the fraternity parties, and I'm going to study more because that's why I'm here in college and that's what's important to my mission here and now. I had an 80-year-old gentleman about a month ago at an event I spoke at come up to me afterwards. And then he sent me a note about 3 weeks later. And I'd been asked a question about why did my cardiac arrest happen? And I don't really know is the honest answer. But when I talked with the doctors, they said it's likely inflammation is a trigger. So I had shared with the audience when asked this question that answer and what causes inflammation. And it can be caused by alcohol, it can be caused by food, stress, lack of sleep. And I had shared these, and I shared that I, as a result, no longer drink. And that's a choice that I made because it will have less inflammation in my body. And hey, if that will keep me alive another 1,000 weeks, I'm all in, you know? And anyways, I got a note from this gentleman who's 80. And he said, Sig, as a result of listening to you and your motivation, one of the things I've done is I stopped drinking 3 weeks ago. And I feel better every day. So really, I think it's universal. It's people that want the inspiration and are at a place in life where they're open to change and really have a desire to be the world's best version of themselves. My book can help people achieve that.
Yes, and thank you, Mr. Sig, in sharing to the world. As a award-winning author or a best-selling author, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Short and long term goals. Um, well, I have my second book that I hope to have out in the next month.
Yes.
And the title of that book is From Pause. Um, it's From Pause to Purpose. And it's a photo journal reflection book. So the idea is set it on your coffee table, open it up, and it's got different things to provoke thought and inspiration. And it's all original photography I've done over the last 30 years. So that will be out later this month. And I have a couple more books in the works. Uh, and then my speaking. I'm now a motivational speaker. I speak internationally, and I'm here to help others be the world's best version of themselves and to figure that out. So I think that short term, it's some tactical things like the books, and next week I'm speaking, and the week after that. And longer term, a big hairy goal is, can I reach and impact 1 million people with my message? That's a big goal, and that might take 20 years. I don't know, but I'm only 71 weeks since my cardiac arrest. I've got another, what, 929. Did I do that math right? 929 left. So,
Wow. Good luck to you girls, Mr. Segan. Looking forward for more success and looking for that second book. Please do come over to all my podcasts and let's talk about it and let's promote to the world. What will be your piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you?
well, one of the things that started me on my journey was practicing gratitude. I talked about you are the world's best and how I said that to people. I make it a practice daily to express gratitude to others. And by expressing gratitude, oftentimes we think it in our brain, right? I'm thankful. That was great. I appreciate that person. But to express it outwardly helps elevate the performance and mood of the person that you just said, you're great, you're fantastic, I appreciate you, thank you. But it also improves our spirit and our mood and elevates our performance. So that's a simple short-term thing that everyone can go do later today or tomorrow or when you're listening to this podcast and start to make that a practice to express gratitude. In my book, I call that vitamin G. Vitamin G
Hmm.
is gratitude. And it's free. You don't need a prescription. You can refill it as many times as you want, but start to practice it.
Yes, vitamin G, people. Vitamin G and everywhere. It's free. And thank you for that advice, Mr. C. Can you please recommend a book of books that influence your journey?
I will. I've already talked about it a little bit, but the book was 4,000 Weeks, Time Management for Mortals.
Mm-hmm.
And that book talks about productivity isn't the thing. It's about focusing on the right stuff and eliminating things that don't matter, and kind of resets the bar on that. So that was the book the pastor recommended, if you recall, and a book that I took the time to understand and explore as part of my journey in recovery.
Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Sig. And life gets busy. How does the kit help someone integrate purpose into a already overwhelming schedule, making it weave in the fabric of their life, not an add-on?
Yeah. So for me, one of the things I've done is I have a word of the year. And you think about defining your mission or what you're about in one word. And then that really gives you some traction. So for me, my one word for 2026 is create. Create. I'm going to create good in the world. I'm going to create things that make a difference in people's lives. I'm going to create the tools and methods that will help people be the world's best. So it all comes down to me create opportunities to connect. Creates the word. And people abandon their goals. This is New Year's Eve was what, a week ago. And by the end of January, people have stopped going to the gym. They've not lost a pound on their diet. And the other resolutions they've made, they probably have already stopped. So you can have New Year's resolutions and goals, but it's challenging to keep them. I think if you can net it down to one word, you can have that focus and weave it into your daily life, weave it into your calendar, make signs. do it as the screensaver on your phone and carry that with you as a continual reminder. And when things feel overwhelming, just come back to that one word. And there are online tools to help people figure out what's your word.
Yes, definitely. So, Mr. Sig, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in sixth season as well, comedy 101 in third season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101, love letters, movie 101 review, and music 101 in fourth season, science 101, sex 101 in third season as well, and my baby podcast trivia 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and last but not the least, Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. C, again, every reader truly use this kit as intended. What is the one collective shift you hope to see in our communities or culture? Is it more engagement, less burnout, or deeper connection?
I think it's an expression of gratitude. It's an expression of gratitude and appreciation for others. And if we all do that, we'll increase the happiness and performance of ourselves and others. It doesn't cost anything to express gratitude to your fellow mankind. And if we can do that, it will be in a better world.
A better world indeed. Practicing gratitude. People, gratitude is stop complaining and count your blessing. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Say. Can you please invite the listeners to support Dying to be the World's Best?
You bet. So you can find my book, Dying to be the World's Best, on Amazon. You can also go to my website, betheworldsbest.com. I'm sure that will be in the show notes. And then you can certainly email me, and that is sig at betheworldsbest.com. And I look forward to connecting with all of you in the future.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Sig Muller because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering books like this to rise. So, Mr. Sig, I have one more question. What is the biggest misconception about purpose that you had to unlearn before you could write this book?
I think a lot of us live a life trying to do what others define for us, what others want us to do. And there's always some of that, right? You have your honey-do list from your wife. You have stuff you have to do for your kids, stuff you have to do for your boss. But it's coming to grips with your core purpose and mission to find what gives you satisfaction. And being able to put that in the mix with the others and prioritize what's important to you and your mission and happiness.
Yes, Mr. Sig Muller, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Daniel. You are the world's best and really making a difference with this all the podcasts that you do for everyone around the globe.
Thank you, Mr. Sig. Moticon people, see you soon.